Major Mohommed, your reaction to this? Israeli Prime Minister has now met Vladimir Putin. Your reaction to it, and are we seeing the emergence of what we can call a Cold War too?
Yes, you can say that in a way, yes, because we all know 30 years back, I'm taking it back to late 80s, where America and Russia, the longest Cold War, in fact, it was a very bad Cold War. So similarly, yes, you can call it a Cold War where US is only applying sanctions, and but if you ask me, I think a Cold War is still better than a normal war where there is bloodshed involved. But as long as there is no bloodshed, I mean, it's bad. Peace should prevail. But yes, it is certainly, I would say, a Cold War is better than a physical war. But yes, I would term it as a Cold War too. You're right, Priyanka, on that.
Here, because we can see that there are two clear blocks being formed. Half of the countries are supporting Ukraine right now. Meanwhile, there are some countries that are in talks with Russia. Meanwhile, India has always maintained the path of diplomacy and solving a conflict through talks. What do you have to say to this?
Yes, Priyanka, you're absolutely right. And you know, on one side, when there are talks happening, but at the end of the day, I mean, what is going to happen? I say that I do not see key falling in the hand of Russians in the next 1 week, at least, minimum.
All right.
So, yes, so let's wait and watch exactly what a tough fight they put up. But at the end of the day, again, I say, a ceasefire is the need of the hour.
Absolutely.
Whether you give a ceasefire for the passage of the civilians, of the students. But, you know, I'll give a small example. I'll quickly give this analogy quickly. Priyanka, a ceasefire is like a break from your firing that you are doing. Like, you know, a lot of people have, like today is Sunday. Tonight, a lot of people would be having Monday morning blues. They would not be wanting to go to work because they've seen the weekend. They have felt a bit lazy. They felt a bit, they've relaxed. They have taken it easy now. But the moment they have Monday morning blues to go for work, they would feel that, oh God, I have to go for work again. Now, ceasefire is seen. For the soldiers, for the civilians, they have seen peace momentarily, be it for a couple of hours for some time, yes, but the fact is that they have seen peace. And nobody wants to shed their hands in blood, and nobody wants to hear those sounds of guns. So yes, I would say a lot it's a golden time for talks to come forward, Priyanka.
Absolutely. There are also updates coming in at this point that Ukraine Foreign Minister Dmitry Kuleba says, and I quote, India is one of the largest consumers of Ukrainian agricultural products, and if this war continues, it will be difficult for us to send new harvest. So even in terms of global and Indian food security, it's the best interest to stop this war. Major Mohommed, your reaction to this? As we just discussed, that India is also going to face the brunt of it without having any sort of role in the war.
Priyanka, I would say that, you know, soldiers on the other side of the fence are not personal enemies. They are only performing their duty in the line of fire, in the line of, as per what their country says. And yes, everyone is going to bear the brunt. War is such a terrible thing. I will quickly tell you, I will express it to you with the help of a poem by Thomas Hardy, which I learned in school on war. I'll just recite about 4 or 5 lines of that, where he says, the man he killed. It says, and this poem will give your answer beautifully. Had he and I but met at an old ancient inn, we would have sat us down to wet by many a nipper kin. But ranged as infantry, staring face to face, I shot at him as he at me and killed him in his place. I shot at him because he was my foe, just so. Yes, he was my foe. That's clear enough, although I thought he would list perhaps, just as I, without of work, had sold his straps, no other reason why. Yes, quaint and curious war is. You shoot a fellow down, you would treat if met where any bar is, or held to half a crown. It's so unfortunate, so sad. You would actually help the same person you're killing right now, had you met in a different circumstance, in a different country, in some other situation. You would have probably sat down for a drink. You would have and here you are outbound to kill each other. It is, and let me tell you, both the countries are going all out. Neither Russia and Ukraine, both are leaving no stone unturned. Russia is getting a beating. Ukraine is getting a beating. No, at the end of the war, nobody emerges a winner. No one is right. What matters is who is left. Who is left, as in not left, left behind. Who is alive? Who survives? And at the end of the war, it is a mother who waits for her son, a father waits for his son, a sister waits for her brother, a brother waits for his brother, a friend waits for his friend. It is the politicians who shake hands, Priyanka. Such a terrible thing to happen.
Very good quote there. Major Mohommed Ali Shah, a very sad situation, as you just mentioned, that it is the leaders who shake hands, but the people who suffer. Here we are seeing that in Maripol, people are left without water and electricity. These are the basic essentials. What do you think is the ultimate aim?
Priyanka, it is the ultimate aim, ultimately, you know, just causing, inflicting maximum casualties on the other side, and then coming over and the struggle to take over Kyiv. A lot of people would actually speculate that Russia did not really intend to take over Kyiv, and they did not. That could be a possibility. I'm not saying it is not. They tried to come over and take over from the western side, and so that they can get a hold of Europe. That could be another strategy. Nobody knows exactly what the war strategy of the leader would be. But yet at the same time, I would say the Russians have been struggling to come. They are just hardly about 10-12 kilometers away from Kyiv. But yet they are not being able to enter Kyiv. They are putting up a really tough fight. It's tooth and mouth. They are fighting. So yes, it is really unfortunate, really sad, and I hope no other country ever has to go for this. And let it be a lesson to everyone, where President Zelensky had also tweeted that we have been totally left alone in the lurch. No one's there to help us. No one's there to support us. It is a lesson to everyone that listen, ladies and gentlemen, unless and until you are standing at your own feet, nobody will come in for your rescue. Just like I give an example, like when we go for to take a bank loan to a bank. First, you have to prove to the bank that you do not need that loan. You have to show that you have assets worth so and so. There's a guarantor. You have, if in case something happens, you will put that. So you have to first prove. Irony is you have to prove that you do not need a loan to ask for a loan. Now, you will only get a loan then, which means only if you are in a position. Only then people will come out and help you. When you are yourself not in a position, nobody comes out and helps you. So it is a great lesson for all of us, for every single human being, for every country, that I hope no other country ever has to go for war, and any kind of violence should also end, Priyanka.
All right. Major Mohommed Ali Shah, a massive mission of the Indian government is currently underway to bring back our own to the motherland. Your reaction at this point? It has been a very tough phase for the Indian nationals.
Absolutely, Priyanka. It's such a tough time for all of us, and we all stand in solidarity with what is going on, and especially our Indian students over there. And they are going to be serving the humanity. They are doctors. But let me also advise them to always think positively. Always, I know it's easier said than done, but that's the best that one can do. Many of you over there, standing over there, would have never met the neighbor who you sleep next to, who you are meeting right now. You must be in a different college perhaps. But let me tell you one thing. You all, the Indians in Ukraine, are right now united. You all are there for each other. You may not be knowing each other by name, some of them by name, but you go out to spend for food. Naveen, our dear younger brother, he lost his life going out and looking for food for all of you. In fact, so everyone is there with you, and the friendship and the bond you will make at this time, these are lifelong friends. They say the ones you have good time are your great friend, but the ones you have seen troubled times are even greater. So let me tell you, it is a tough time, and yes, it's a tough time for the Indian government, for the embassy, for the diplomats, for the Indian Air Force, for everyone who is actually involved with these rescue operations, but never heard in the history of the world ever. I would like to hear from the great historians also that, if ever, I'm not aware, it could have been happened, I don't know, but not that I'm aware, that a country appeals for help, that whose friend, and both the countries decide to give a safe passage for whatever it's worth, for whatever duration of time. It speaks very highly of India. Also, when other foreign nationals put up Indian national flag on their buses to eye for a safe passage, it speaks very, very highly of the tricolor. I have put my life at stake defending it. We all love it. We all are patriotic. We all love our motherland. But we all now take immense pride to call ourselves Indian, and a difficult time for all of us. Difficult time for you, Priyanka, for your channel. I know, I'm aware of the fact that your colleagues have been working back to back. Your guest coordinators are working back to back. You guys are not eating meals on time. You're not sleeping, and that's this whole thing that because we are concerned. It just shows our concern, our genuine concern, not superficial concern. but a genuine concern that and let me assure the people who are stuck in Ukraine, I can well understand the anxiety, but every single one of you is going to come home safely. And the parents of these children who are listening to us right now, sir, ma'am, please do not worry. Your ward, your son, your child, your daughter would be back home with you very, very soon. And the ones who are already back, like I have some personal friends whose children are already back. I was in touch with them and I was expressing my concern. So many of them are back, and my heartfelt congratulations to them. And yes, I will quickly finish with this quick anecdote, Priyanka, 30-second anecdote, a small story where king tells the empire that, okay, if someone makes me a ring, which would make a sad man happy and a happy man sad, I would give him a prize. Now, there is no such ring like that. But then a blacksmith makes a ring. On the ring it was written, as we said, this too shall pass. So the king wears that ring and he becomes sad. A sad man wears that ring and becomes happy. Why? Only 4 golden words were written on a ring, which was very simple, that read, this too shall pass. So when a person who is having a good time reads that, obviously he would be upset. But when a person like us, who is in troubled times right now, trying times, reads that, his morale would go up. Priyanka.
Absolutely. Major Mohommed, if we talk about the students who are coming back, as we just spoke, that they were facing a very terrible time in Ukraine. What are your suggestions? What needs to be done to rehabilitate these students in India?
Well, I'm certain that the Ministry of HRD and the Indian government, everyone, they are going to be working in tandem, and they're going to make sure that these students whose studies have suffered, they would be accommodated in Indian universities, Indian colleges, and they would not lose, they would get the antecedent seniority provided. Because medical is something, when you are going to study medicine, and if you have missed a year, and if you cannot really help a person by saying, okay, you missed a year, come, I'll give you a double promotion, come, I will compensate for that. Because at the end of the day, there is a huge responsibility on your shoulders as a doctor. If you are not really competent in your job as a doctor, you are going to put thousands of lives, millions of lives at stake who you would be curing. So it is not as easy as saying that, okay, you missed your class 4th in the pandemic, doesn't matter, without exams, I will promote you to class 5th or class 6th. It's very, very complex, very, very tough. It's like a soldier, that you are untrained. You haven't gone through your academy through leadership, and we will make you an officer. You will die, you will get killed, and you will get your men killed in action as well. Why? Because you're incompetent. So now, when we talk about these students, yes, it is a tough time for them, but as many students here from you and your channel, you are also communicating to them. You are saying right now, our first priority is our life. If we come out alive, we will consider ourselves very, very lucky. So yes, now how do we rehabilitate them? We give them admissions in already in the neighboring countries of Ukraine have already come forward, and they've said, we will give Indian students admission and we will help them rehabilitate over here. Now, the Indian universities, the Ministry of HRD, I'm sure they have a plan, they have a design in mind, and they will help out every single person who has suffered. So yes, notwithstanding the fact that, you might, and listen, even if people lose a year, God forbid, it is not a big deal. Not a big deal. And let me tell those people who would lose a year. Many people have lost a year in the academics also. FAIL means first attempt in learning. When you hear end as an answer, it means an endeavor or an effort never dies. And let me tell you again, if one has to, God forbid, lose certain time in your academics, don't worry about it. Don't worry. What matters is not what you have lost, but what you are going to be gaining in future. And I'm certain this experience would actually make you all stronger human beings, and you would learn more about humanity. So yes, Indian government is going to, I'm sure, they would rehabilitate them, right, and compensate them for their education in their own university.
Major Mohommed, thank you for joining us on the broadcast and sharing your views on this pertinent story.